Hi, my name is Pasquale Mingarelli, and I'm a wildlife photographer. And I'm here in the hills of Fontenelle Forest, Nebraska. Yes, I said hills, forest, and Nebraska, all in one sentence. And sometimes we need to expand our vision of geography. And sometimes we have to expand the vision God's given us for our life. Many years ago when I was a child, I was fascinated by photography. I always wanted to take pictures at family get-togethers and things like that, but this was way back in the film days, and my mom wouldn't let me do it because she didn't want me to ruin the picture. And then I'd ask for my own camera, and she'd say, well, no, there's money in film and processing, and finally I had a paper route, so I had money, and they gave me a camera for my birthday. And I still have that camera, and it's here in my backpack behind me. This is the first camera I ever owned. Many of you remember these. Many of you are thinking, what's he got in his hand? But this is my first camera. And as you could see, you used to put your flash on there. It wasn't the twisty kind that turned around. It was actually the kind you would stack. You'd have 5 on one side, you flip it over, and 5 on the other side, and things like that. It wasn't a great camera, and it couldn't get great pictures. But you know what I do with this thing? I went outside and I took pictures of nature because that's what I love to do. And about a year and a half later, I was blessed to get another camera, a newer camera, which I also have, and it's this one right here. It had the built-in flash and the sliding telephoto lens. Hey, right? I was moving up in the world. And I still took this camera outside and I'd photograph nature. And I'd get these books on nature, these magazines on wildlife, and I would dream about being a wildlife photographer. Finally, as I was a senior in high school, I got my first 35mm camera. And I took a class on photography. And I loved it, and I thought, this is what I want to pursue. So I went to college for photography. I first went to an art college, which showed me a lot about looking at lighting and composition and things like that. But I was a 2-year school, and then didn't tell me much about how to get a job. So I went to 2 more years in the field, in looking at the field of photojournalism, and I graduated from a school in Ohio, Bowling Green State University, with a degree in photojournalism. And from there, I started working with a newspaper, and then I went to a magazine. God gave me a vision when I was in college that to use my photography to glorify Him. So I started working for a Christian magazine. It's called Worldwide Challenge, and it's part of an organization called Crew. And at the time I worked with them, it was called Campus Crusade for Christ. So I worked there for many years, and I'd go on assignments around the country and around the world. And towards my end of my time there, I started seeing myself gravitating towards more things of nature. I was backpacking and hiking with a lot of guys and taking pictures outside. And when I would go on assignments for Worldwide Challenge, I would go on sometimes the schedule wasn't always full, and I'd have like a day off in the middle, and I would look for the closest state park to go to, or sometimes I'd extend my trip a couple days to go to a national park. And I felt like I was being called back to nature, if you want to put it that way. So I left Campus Crusade to pursue more nature photography, outdoor photography, and I wanted to celebrate God as creator through photography. Now, I had a vision for that, but things didn't quite work out the way I thought they were going to work out, and it just kind of went along like that. But I was still taking a lot of pictures outside, photographing creation, spending a lot of time outside. I'd still go hiking and backpacking and things like that. And I've realized that God speaks to us through His creation, and the creation speaks to us about God. So I started a ministry called The Creation Speaks. And what The Creation Speaks does, it looks at how nature speaks to our heart, soul, and mind about God. It's about how when we spend time outside and we study it and we enjoy it and we think about God in it, we can grow in our knowledge and worship of Him. Now the Bible tells us this in many places, like Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of God. Romans 1 talks about how His attributes are revealed through the things He has made. Well, how do we see those attributes if we don't get outside? And I encourage people in my ministry to get outside and do speaking at churches, to ministry groups. And the ministry website is called thecreationspeaks.com. Thecreationspeaks.com. And if you go there, you can see all the topics I speak about, because there's so much we can learn from God's creation. We can learn about God's attributes. We can learn about His glory. We can learn about His majesty. We can learn things about worship and how creation can draw us into worship God as we stand in awe of what He's created. And just imagine what that Creator is like. And I talk about beauty and why we're drawn to that beauty and what does that tell us about God and how He made us and how we're made in His image and things like that. So I'd love to just have the opportunity to speak to your ministry or your church about those things, if that's what God calls us to do. But there's another aspect of my ministry I want to tell you about, which is called the visual verse. And the visual verse, that website is it's called the visual verse of the day. And the website is visualverse.thecreationspeaks.com. Visualverse.thecreationspeaks.com. And all that is a passage from God's Word with a photograph I've taken of His creation. Every day there's a new picture and a new passage. 6 days a week. I put those up. And it serves to encourage and inspire people by God's Word and His creation. The Facebook page has it has almost 800,000 likes. I was going to say it had over 700,000, but it has almost 800,000 likes. It's people around the world being blessed by God's Word and His creation. Now, I never had that vision for my life, but that's the vision God is using me for right now, and I don't know where it's going to go. And I would encourage you to go to that website, again, visualverse.thecreationspeaks.com, not to Facebook, but right to the website. Because sometimes Facebook doesn't always put it in people's news feeds, and about 10% or maybe even less than 10% of the people who have actually liked the page see the photos every day. But they're there every day, so if you go to that website, bookmark it, make it your homepage, then every day you can look at this and be inspired by God's work in His creation. Because when we see how great God is in His creation, we can realize how great He can work in our lives. You know, and God's given you a vision for your life. And I don't know what that vision is, but it's something great, just as He's given a vision for mine. And I don't know where this visual verse is going to. And I'd love to have it hit 800,000, 1 million people a day, having it on their computer and being able to see God's Word and God's creation. People around the world. Now, I don't know how to get it there. I don't have the money to do certain things to do it there. But, you know, right now I'm working a couple different jobs. And you know, I don't know where our funding comes from. And I could ask you to pray for that. That God would, I'm actually looking for another job right now. And just praying that God would lead us. And I would be able to have work that will allow me to continue to do what I do. To travel at times and get pictures. And just so I can bless people with God's Word and His creation. You know, and God's got a vision for your life too. I don't know what that is, but you know what? I have a camera here, right? I showed you my camera. You know, and sometimes this is our vision for our life, right here. But you know what? Sorry you can't see me right now. There's no one working the camera, so you can't see me. But I'm going to get something out of my camera bag. Right here. Bear with me. Here it is. All right? Maybe this is your vision for your life. And maybe this is God's vision for your life. So I'd encourage you to pursue His vision. And I also would encourage you to pray for my ministry. Because I'm pursuing God and His vision for His life. Just let Him open my eyes to the direction I need to go. And I pray that God would open your eyes for the direction you need to go. Amen. Thanks for watching.